Hey guys, welcome back to Nelly Nummies. Now I'm really excited to show you what we're going to be cooking with today. It's something I've been growing in my garden and it's the very first one I've picked out of it yet. Zucchini! Now I love zucchini, but this guy got a little out of hand. He's a little bigger than what I'd normally go for, but we're going to work with it today. So today we're going to be making zucchini boats. The particular flavor we're going to be working with is a chicken Alfredo stuffed zucchini. It's okay, he's sturdy. But with the zucchini boat, what we do for that is you literally just cut it along lengthwise here and split it in half, and then you scoop out the filling, and I'll show you guys when we do that. And then you just stuff it full of whatever goodness you like and bake it until it's nice, warm, and bubbly, and the zucchini is just softened enough to eat. And then it's delicious. This is also a really nice low carb alternative to like pasta and stuff. And I've been craving chicken Alfredo, so that's what we're gonna be working with today. As you can see, we have some chicken. I'm gonna be making my own Alfredo sauce today, but you guys can use just store-bought Alfredo sauce and that will work perfectly fine. That's a nice little shortcut. To make your own Alfredo, we need obviously Parmesan cheese. I like to add a little bit of mozzarella cheese, a cup and a half of heavy cream. Key thing, heavy cream, not milk. The cream is what makes it nice and thick and rich without having to use some sort of thickener in it. We also need 2 to 3 ounces of cream cheese and 2 tablespoons of butter. This is not going to be a low calorie sauce. If you're trying to go low calorie, you might want to do store-bought, just saying. Or not Alfredo. And then also for our seasonings, we're gonna want garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of Italian seasoning, and then salt and pepper like usual. And also, when doing chicken Alfredo, I like to add in a little veggie to make it a little healthier and just nice addition of flavor. So today we're going to use some spinach that I picked out of my garden today too. You don't need to grow your own. You can buy it store-bought. If you don't want spinach, you can also do like broccoli or mushrooms or onions, whatever floats your boat. All right, we're going to get started here first, and to start, we're going to slice up our chicken. Now first you're going to need 1 medium to large size chicken breast. And what I like to do to cut it into chunks is I'll cut it horizontally like this. Be very careful not to cut your hand. This will just get it to a bit more even thickness. There we go. Now we got 2 chicken halves that are a bit more even thickness. And then from here, we're just going to cut them into little chunks. Okay, now we got our chicken chopped. We're going to set the chicken aside. Now, we're going to do our zucchini. You're going to need a nice knife and a spoon and a zucchini. Now, you don't have to use a large one like I have. You can use like 2 regular medium size, 2 to 3 medium-sized zucchini that you can get in the store. First thing I like to do is I'm going to chop off the ends. And then from there we're going to slice them down lengthwise. Just like that. There we go. And here's our zucchini. And then you're going to need a nice spoon. And we're going to scoop out these innards here. Just scoop it out. You don't want to scoop all the way to the bottom. You want to make sure you leave a nice little, well, so kind of like that. And even leave a nice barrier here so that the walls don't collapse when they're baking, and this gets softer and it can hold the insides quite well. And you don't want to scoop all the way to the bottom either. But yeah, just scoop out the insides. Leave about quarter inch from each side, and you should be good. There. See, here's one. This is one little boat. Now we're gonna do the other one. Here we go. So now we have our 2 zucchini boats. From there, we're gonna get an oven-safe dish, put these in and set aside until we get all the fillings cooked up. Also, side note, don't throw those away. You can dice these up into small chunks and add them to the fillings when you put it back into the zucchini here. I have a nice little cookie sheet that I lined with parchment paper. Gonna set these guys on there and set it aside. Next step is to start cooking everything. So we have our pan heating up on the stove here. I'm gonna grab my oil, put a little bit of olive oil in the pan so the chicken doesn't stick. And then we're gonna add our chicken. There we go. We're gonna cook this until it's no longer pink. And feel free to add a little herbs and seasonings during this stage, whether that just be salt and pepper, or you can also add your Italian seasoning and some garlic powder to the chicken as well. And that's precisely what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a little bit of garlic powder. A little bit of garlic powder. A little bit of Italian seasoning. I'm sorry, I'm not measuring. Using about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of each right now. Pinch of salt. It's about half a teaspoon at most. Quarter teaspoon of salt, more accurate. To the chicken. Gonna let that cook. While you are cooking your chicken and everything, you can have your oven preheating to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, looks like our chicken is done. It's mostly cooked through, not really any pink left. You don't have to worry about it getting super done, well done chicken, because it will finish cooking a bit more in the oven when we throw them in the zucchini boats. So I'm gonna take the chicken out of the pan and put it in a separate bowl to wait while we finish our sauce. Now, using the same pan that we just used for the chicken, we are going to make the sauce. So you're going to need 2 tablespoons of butter and let that melt. And if you're using store-bought Alfredo, go ahead and skip this part and just keep the chicken in the pan, pour your Alfredo sauce over top, and then add your veggies in to kind of cook through a little bit and get everything nice and warm. Okay, now that the butter is mostly melted, we're going to take our 2 to 3 ounces cream cheese that I just broke up into cubes, and we're going to plop it in there to melt. Whoop. Careful about splashing butter. And you're going to need to stick close to this and stir frequently. Feel free to turn your temperature down to like medium heat. Just keep stirring this until the butter and the cream cheese are mostly melted and combined to the best of your ability. Okay, that's mostly melted cream cheese there. So we're going to turn the temperature down to a low, medium low. So we're going to take our 1.5 cups of cream and slowly pour it in and mix it. Go slowly so you can try and get that cream cheese and butter mixed in and incorporated, and give the cream a chance to get up to temp so everything combines nicely. And this might be a little bit too much Alfredo sauce for our boats. If it is, that's okay. You can save it for later. We'll take some out later before we add the chicken and everything back in. And we can use the Alfredo sauce for something later, like a dipping sauce for breadsticks. And we're gonna have to babysit this for a while. We're gonna let this come up to a gentle simmer. So when you start seeing little bubbles, that will be simmering. And we're gonna simmer for about 10 to 12 minutes or until this starts thickening. And you have to babysit it just so that the cream doesn't scald to the bottom and then the fat and everything starts separating, and that's not very good Alfredo, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. See those little bubbles there? That's a simmer, gentle simmer. So at this stage, now that it's almost thick enough, like if we take a spoon. Oh, actually this is technically ready. So you see when you drag a spoon across the bottom, it takes a second for it to collapse back in. That's what we're looking for. So now that we're to that stage, we are going to add in about a teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm just gonna eyeball it, but you want a teaspoon of garlic powder, more or less, depending on how much you like garlic. About a quarter teaspoon to a half teaspoon of onion powder. And about another half teaspoon to a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I'm gonna give it a good little whisk. Okay. Now the next thing to do is add in your Parmesan cheese. We're gonna add about, I'm generous, so I like to do about half a cup of Parmesan cheese, the grated stuff. About half a cup of that. Mozzarella, about a quarter cup of mozzarella cheese. Doesn't need to be much. Doesn't take much when you have that much cream already. Whisk that in so everything's melted. Next we're gonna do is we're gonna start adding stuff back in. So we're gonna take our chicken that we cooked and add that in. And then I'm gonna take my spinach. This is about 3 to 4 cups of spinach. And with how spinach usually works, it cooks down very fast to almost nothing. So you can add more in if you want. You can also add your mushrooms or broccoli or anything else, any other veggies that you like with this. We're just gonna mix this all together. The spinach is gonna cook and wilt pretty quick, so we can even turn the heat off now. And then I saved some of and chopped up some of the insides of the zucchini. I'm just gonna add that back in just so that we can utilize everything from the zucchini. And that I'm not too worried about cooking too much because it'll cook more in the oven. So next is the fun part. We are going to start assembling everything. Now we have our zucchini boats here, and the oven is ready. The oven is ready to go. So the next thing we're going to do is start putting some of this filling in. Be very careful, it is hot. You can use as much or as little of the filling that you want, just depends on how full you want this. Here we go. I wanted a little extra spinach on that one. And we're gonna fill this other half, and just do this with all of your zucchini halves, little boats that you made. You may not use all of the sauce, and that's okay. But you can save the sauce for later, and you can make just regular Alfredo with it the next day. Okay, so we have our 2 halves here. And now we're going to top them off with more Parmesan cheese with what we have left. And then some mozzarella cheese as well. I think I was greedy enough with cheese. Next thing we're gonna do is we are gonna pop this into the oven here, and we're gonna bake it for 15 to 20 minutes or until all this cheese is melted and bubbly and the zucchini is softened a bit. And they are done. So mine got done in about 15 minutes. You could probably bake a little longer depending on how thick your zucchini are and how tender you want it to be. Mine feels like what you would consider maybe al dente. There might be still a bit of a crunch and bite to it, but it's not too soft. So as you can see, there's some nice golden brown spots on top from the cheese getting all nice and bubbly and cooked. So now we get to try this. This is quite big. Your zucchini might be a bit more reasonably sized. Mine are quite large, so I may only end up eating half of this myself. But that's okay. I might eat all of it because, you know, it's low carb, so it's healthier, right? Let's see. But let's have a little bite. All right, zucchini still has a bit of a crunch to it. I want a little bit of that chicken and everything, and the cheese. Ow. That's really good. But this turned out really good. The Alfredo is nice and creamy. It's almost like what you get at Olive Garden type Alfredo, minus we did add some Italian seasoning. You can leave that out if you don't want it. But this is a nice treat. It's kind of like an Alfredo lasagna or just regular noodle Alfredo, but you're not having the carbs with it, so this is a lot lighter. So I could probably eat this entire thing and not feel too cruddy and heavy due to the carbs. But overall, I'm really happy with it. I hope you guys get to give it a try. Thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to cooking with you guys again next time on Nelly Nummies. And if you have any suggestions on what we can make next time or in the future, please let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious to see what you guys think. I look forward to cooking with you guys again. And please, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, take a deep breath, and everything will be okay. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.